Our News is brought to you by Alive.
Tonight on Our News, residents line up for the AstraZeneca vaccine amid new clotting concerns. What sent 3 Alluthra teens to a local clinic? Plus, what prompted the PLP to review its campaign practices. Welcome to Our News and thanks for joining us. I'm Christina Dragovich. Topping news tonight, illegal migrants and those suspected of being involved in various criminal offenses were arrested in the farm shanty town in Abaco today during a multi-agency operation coordinated by the Ministry of Works. The Royal Bahamas Police Force, the Defense Force, the Customs and Immigration Departments, Bahamas Power and Light, and private sector partners took part in the operation, which also included the seizure of suspected stolen goods and the disconnection of a large quantity of illegally operated generators and gas tanks. The Ministry of Works said in a statement that the illegally constructed access roadways were closed and signs written in English and Creole were erected. Signs were also posted on illegally erected buildings, warning residents of the legal prohibition of any new construction and of the intention of the government to demolish all of the illegally constructed buildings. Officials say police and Defense Force officers will maintain a presence in the area to enforce these notices as the Ministry of Public Works carries out what officials termed its legal mandate in the coming weeks. Well, 3 Alluthra teenagers were treated at a clinic in Rock Sound after they reportedly ate 4 cookies, 4 brownies, and 4 gummies laced with marijuana. Police believe the drugs came from New Providence. Bethany McDermott reports.
Police on Alluthra are investigating the shipment of marijuana-laced cookies on a mail boat from New Providence to Rock Sound. Officer in charge of Alluthra, Chief Superintendent Brian Brown, told Our News that police received reports on Wednesday evening that a teenager consumed edible drugs suspected to be marijuana. He said further investigations revealed that 2 other teenagers, believed to be 16 and 17 years old, ate the edibles.
They were all exhibiting some sort of condition as a result of digesting what appears to be cookies, brownies, and gummies, 4 of each. Officers are in the early stage of their investigation. We're following some significant leads into this matter.
While he couldn't say how the edibles got on the island, police suspect the drugs came from New Providence. He said the teenagers received medical attention at the local clinic and were discharged.
A number of persons, when they eat these cookies, they get a very serious reaction. Persons can go to their mind, and in some cases they lose feelings in their parts of their bodies, and it's very dangerous. You shouldn't consume anything that is laced with especially dangerous drugs.
The incident comes 2 weeks after at least 7 students from S.C. McPherson Junior High School were taken to hospital after eating marijuana edibles that were allegedly brought to school by another student. Brown couldn't say if the incident occurred on school grounds. When contacted for comment, Education Minister Jeff Lloyd said there were no reports of any such incident occurring on a school on the island, but said officials there would investigate. Bahamas Union of Teachers President Belinda Wilson said the incident did not happen at school, but added it seems to be the start of a trend.
It seems as though there's a trend starting, and in this early stages, I urge the Ministry of Education to address these matters forthwith. I also impress upon parents to get more involved in the day-to-day activities of your children. Talk to your children about drugs and alcohol and its possible negative impact.
Now again, the Chief Superintendent said this matter is under investigation, and he's hopeful that the matter will be closed soon. Reporting for Our News, I'm Bethany McDermott.
In other news, Progressive Liberal Party leader Philip Davis has ordered a review of the PLP's campaign practices following comments by Chief Medical Officer Dr. Pearl McMillan, who suggested that political campaigning should not take place during the COVID-19 pandemic. According to a statement from party chairman Fred Mitchell, the party took note of Dr. McMillan's comments and is also reviewing outside political gatherings to ensure they do not violate rules. He says canvassers have been directed to reinforce safety protocols, including mask wearing, hand sanitizing, social distancing, and speaking with constituents from the outside of their homes where possible. And amid new concerns over the AstraZeneca vaccine and rare blood clot risks, dozens of people showed up at the island's largest vaccine center this morning for their first shot. It comes as health officials confirmed 43 new COVID-19 cases. Jasmine Brown reports.
Many of the residents we spoke to today say they were well aware of the risks. However, they say the benefits far outweigh any of those other concerns.
I mean, I heard about the clots, is it? Mm-hmm. Yeah, just the other day, and I said to myself, nah, I'm scheduled to go today. Let me feel where I'm, make sure. But no, I mean, it's I think the plus outweighs the minuses, and I think that it's the thing that we have to make that contribution, make that sacrifice. And it may be life-threatening, but Lord, we had too many people die at home and globally.
64-year-old Clifford Ramming explained why he decided to go ahead with plans to get the AstraZeneca vaccine. Ramming was one of dozens of people who lined up this morning. While the lines at the site nearly wrapped around the entrance of the building, it was a much different scene at Kendall Isaac's gym, where teachers and school staff, students and athletes studying or competing abroad are now able to get the AstraZeneca shot. We met workers prepping the site. The vaccine, developed with Oxford University and considered a front-runner in the global vaccine race, has been plagued by safety concerns and supply problems since Phase 3 trial results were published in December. On Wednesday, the UK government decided to offer alternative vaccines for healthy adults under 30 after the European Medicines Agency reported that rare blood clots may be a side effect of the AstraZeneca vaccine. Most of the cases of blood clots identified by the regulators occurred in women under 60 within 2 weeks of the shot, but that was no deterrent to those we spoke to.
I have prayed on it. I have consulted on it. I have read up on it, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I have a good level of comfort right now with it, so I'm here.
I did do a little bit of reading, and I see the chances are quite low, although it is a possibility. And in all things, you have to give it all up to God and pray for the best.
Yeah, I think it's something that everyone needs to take into consideration, but given my age and given the over 20 million people have been vaccinated so far, you know, the risk is negligible to the impact that we can have with the vaccine.
Health officials said over 10,000 Bahamians and residents have been vaccinated since the country launched its campaign in mid-March. Reporting for our News, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Well, East Grand Bahama residents had their opportunity to be inoculated today, and while some were eager to get the jab, others were still apprehensive. This as health officials say some side effects are proof that the vaccine is working. Jillian Gray has that.
They're from the same household but have different opinions.
I'm not ready for it. Probably next couple months or so.
Why are you not ready for it?
I don't know, but I just ain't ready.
And I put Jesus in control of everything.
Maxine Knowles joined her elderly mom, Mulame Rackley, who was part of the initial rollout of the vaccine process in East Grand Bahama on Thursday. While she says she supports her mother, she's not quite ready for the jab just yet.
I'm not listening to nobody. It's something that I have to choose and sit down and think about for myself. So when I'm ready, I'll just do what I have to do.
Nearly 50 people were vaccinated on Thursday, according to Dr. Stacy Lang, bringing Grand Bahama's total to just over 2,500. Mild side effects are nothing to worry about, according to Dr. Lang.
Having headaches or body aches, a little fever, those are actually the side effects or the response that we are hoping for. It is indicating that it's actually working.
While the UK has said that adults under 30 will be offered an alternative to the AstraZeneca vaccine, Dr. Lang says they have not yet considered that option.
Unfortunately, AstraZeneca is what we have, and we have vaccinated persons under 30 with it, and we have not had any known adverse effects in relation as it relates to blood clotting issues.
A concierge service was provided for those who either had no transportation or lived too far from the site. For 70-year-old marine engineer Ishmael Lang, there is always a risk when taking man-made medications.
There's always after effects, but we're just hoping the best that it would be in conjunction with keeping us alive and not taking us out.
Sylvia Russell had apprehensions before taking the vaccine, particularly about possible blood clots, but says prayer and talking to people helped to ease her mind.
No, well, I talked to a few people who did it, and they said, well, they didn't have any, it didn't feel like they had any side effects, so that's what that's why I made up my mind.
Meanwhile, Pastor Pedersen Ballou says he's used to taking vaccines and sees no problem with it.
I'm not into the Facebook or social media thing. I'm into what I think is best for me and what is best for the country.
Reporting for our News, I'm Jillian Gray.
And temperatures are creeping back up to the 80s. Greg Thompson is in the weather studio with the latest.
Thanks, Christina. I'm meteorologist Greg Thompson with your Thursday evening weather. Beautiful conditions on the outside, a little bit on the warm side. Temperatures are in the mid-70s, 74 degrees outside our studios. Just a few clouds. Those winds are very light, 4 knots. We expect them to fall off tonight, and another cool night expected around the islands. Satellite view around the area, that high-pressure system remains in charge. Beautiful conditions around the islands. We have some high-level clouds moving from west to east, but nothing much in terms of any significant weather. It's going to remain very quiet for the rest of the evening. That's your first look at weather. Your extended forecast is still to come.
Still to come, Crystal Cruises celebrating full Bahamas bookings, plus 4 major hurricanes predicted in 2021. Stay with us.
Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. Topping news tonight.
COVID-19 remains a serious threat.
Coronavirus COVID-19 has disrupted our economy, tourism industry, educational system, and put our healthcare facilities and professionals on high alert. Are you prepared? Do you have all the facts? Stay tuned to this network for the very latest news and information on this global pandemic.
The family of a man who was killed by police last Friday is questioning officers' version of what happened. Jared Higgs tells us more.
Family members mourning the loss of 36-year-old Patrick Beau, who was killed by police on Good Friday.
When the officer was running behind with a gun, he picked up the speed because he wondered what's going on, why they behind me.
According to police, the incident unraveled around 1 p.m. Officers from the operations unit, while on Butler Street in Nassau Village, were in pursuit of 2 male suspects on foot. They say one of the suspects produced a firearm and discharged it at the officers. The officers returned fire, injuring one of the suspects. A black pistol was recovered, according to police. The man was taken to hospital where he later died.
Did Patrick fire a weapon at him?
No, he did not. He did not.
A relative who witnessed the incident spoke to our news but asked us not to show her face. She and Beau's other relatives doubted the force's version of events, insisting that firing at police is a death sentence and their loved one wouldn't have taken that risk. That relative who witnessed the incident says Beau was confronted and chased by 3 officers while riding a bike. She added he eventually dropped his bike and ran to the next street over where he was shot.
From seeing what I saw, that really had me shocked right now. I honestly didn't like that. And I was like, it isn't fair.
Beau had a double murder allegation hanging over his head. The charges stem from the double shooting of his children's mother, 24-year-old Kavisha Richards, and 29-year-old James Johnson. The couple were killed after they arrived at their home on New Hope Drive off East Street South back on December 18, 2018. Police charged Beau 3 days later, but he never went on trial and was released on bail.
Why judge people over here say this, say that, say? You understand? I could talk what they did because I saw what they do. I'm not talking what somebody say or what somebody spreading. I'm talking what I see, okay?
Despite his legal challenges, Beau's family described him as a quiet person who loved children, leaving behind 4 of his own. His death leaves many questions that his family and others will want answers to.
We just want justice. We want justice. That's the next step. We want justice. You can't let it go like that.
Reporting for our news, I am Jared Higgs.
In other news, months ahead of its voyage from its new home port in Nassau, Crystal Cruises is booked out for its first few trips through Bahamian waters. Kyle Joaquin reports.
Fully booked for us is basically over 800 passengers, right? And we're a 900 passenger vessel.
Beginning July 3rd, Crystal Cruises will begin its 7-day cruises from Nassau or Bimini with stops to various family islands including Exuma, Long Island, and San Salvador. Just over a month after their announcement, rooms on the luxury cruise line for the Bahamas are booked solid, according to corporate manager Kevin Jones. He said the opportunities for vendors on those islands are endless.
Not only is it 100% local, we are also giving multiple bites at the apple. When I say 100% local, we're only bringing off one thing on a consistent basis, and that's water. Everything else is locally sourced.
From excursions and tours to dining experiences, Jones says businesses at every stop can benefit. All passengers will have to be fully vaccinated at least 2 weeks prior to boarding. The cruise's safety precautions will be stringent, according to Jones, who said doctors and nurses will be on duty around the clock.
If, God forbid, we have an instance where someone gets sick, we have set aside separate stateroom cabins where their HVAC systems, their air ventilation is entirely separate from the rest of the cruise vessel, so that we can isolate you and we can quickly be able to get from our family island from the family island we may be in at that point back to Nassau and safely expatriate those persons without worrying about cross-contamination on the vessel or with anyone on the island.
Crystal Cruises has been rated among the most luxurious cruise lines in the world. It is particularly popular among passengers ages 50 to 64 with a net worth of over $1 million. Jones warned there will be strict protocols for vendors as well.
Yes, you will be expected to have been tested before providing services to the guests. And that the level of testing is going to vary depending upon the services that you're providing.
We also spoke to Jones about the ongoing work happening here at the cruise port, and he said it's actually not a bad thing, but a pretty opportune time.
Where we can select where we'd like to port now so that we can slot into that. And if this all works, it's a match made in heaven in every place.
They're talking about pre-stays and post-stays. So you'll see people coming 2-3 days before. That means from the point that the time they arrive, getting in a taxi, going to a hotel, and all that entails before making their way downtown.
For Our News, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
Well, the 2021 hurricane season is expected to be an above-average one, according to researchers at Colorado State University. They're predicting 17 named storms this year, with 8 hurricanes and 4 major hurricanes. The chance of at least one hurricane, Category 3 or higher, in the Caribbean this year is at 58%. That's 16% higher than the average for the last century. Colorado State is expected to issue another seasonal update in June. Hurricane season runs from June 1st to November 30th. And there's more news coming up, but first, your RF Market Watch.
It's now time for tonight's Financial Market Minute, brought to you by RF, your local investment bank. This has been your Financial Market Minute. To explore the best performing mutual funds in the Bahamas, visit our website at www.rfgroup.com.
When our news comes back from the break, Alive gets connected in Harbor Bay, plus Jazz Chisholm and the Marlins struggling against the Cardinals. Stay with us.
Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. Topping news tonight.
COVID-19 remains a serious threat.
Coronavirus COVID-19 has disrupted our economy, tourism industry, educational system, and put our healthcare facilities and professionals on high alert. Are you prepared? Do you have all the facts? Stay tuned to this network for the very latest news and information on this global pandemic.
This is our news. Welcome back. Alive officially opening its new Harbor Bay store today. Head of retail Avani Ambrister said the new location fills a need in eastern New Providence.
Brick and mortar is still a big thing. Okay, we've seen online and digital purchases, but Even when the country was shut down, when we were open for curbside, the people flocked to the store. And for Bahamians, brick and mortar is important. Face-to-face engagement and service is still important. And so this means for us to be able to serve our customers better, to be able to provide more for them, in a nicely spaced environment. We're able to practice social distancing.
Alive operated inside the Armstrong Technology store in 2018 before moving to its current location in December. The store features an art wall displaying the work of Bahamian artists.
Know that during the pandemic, a lot of entrepreneurs were birthed during this season, right? And so now, while they may be working from home, they need somewhere to be able to come with their small team, or maybe to meet their clients or customers in a safe environment, but also in a digital environment. So we have touchscreen and smart boards and whiteboards. It's amazing. So we're able to host 4 and 6 persons. And we're excited to also partner with the vendors in the plaza.
Tonight in sports, a big win for DeAndre Ayton and the Suns. Marcellus Hall has that and more.
All right, thanks, Christina. Welcome to our Sports on a Thursday. I'm Marcellus Hall. The season not quite over yet, but the Phoenix Suns are kind of making people take notice as a true contender in the Western Conference. Sitting in second last night, going up against the #1 team. Let's see exactly how it turned out. DeAndre Ayton, Phoenix Suns, sitting in second in the Western Conference, facing off against the top team in the West, the Utah Jazz last night. Boy, this one would be a battle all the way to the end. They go to overtime to decide a winner. Suns scoring the first 5 points in the overtime frame. They would never look back. They go on for the 117-113 victory. Ayton with a solid double-double, scoring 18 points to go along with 12 rebounds. He added 2 steals and 3 blocks in 41 minutes played. Phoenix, another tough game coming up for them this evening. They go up against the LA Clippers. Meanwhile, Jazz Chisholm and the Miami Marlins back in action yesterday against the St. Louis Cardinals. Jazz getting the start at shortstop. He would go 0 for 3 at the plate, unfortunately, with a walk and a strikeout. Marlins with just 3 hits in total in the entire ballgame. Cardinals get the win 7-0 behind a grand slam from Dylan Carlson and a 2-run shot from Yadier Molina. Marlins fall to 1-5 on the young season. They take on the Mets today. Jazz with the start at second base, batting 7th. And that's your check on sports for you this Thursday. I'm Marcellus Hall. Back to you, Christina.
Thanks, Marcellus. How a local mask manufacturer is taking off, the details when our news returns.
Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. Topping news tonight.
COVID-19 remains a serious threat.
Coronavirus COVID-19 has disrupted our economy, tourism industry, educational system, and put our healthcare facilities and professionals on high alert. Are you prepared? Do you have all the facts? Stay tuned to this network for the very latest news and information on this global pandemic.
Welcome back to our news. Now I'm going to ask the question everyone wants to know. Where is the rain? Greg has the latest weather outlook.
Thanks again, Christina, and a happy Thursday evening, everybody. Beautiful day around the islands as a high-pressure system remains in charge of our area. That high is just to the east of the Bahamas. It's going to slide out towards the east. We have some high-level clouds still moving across area, not really going to form any kind of shower activity across us, but we are watching a frontal system across the southeast United States that we expect to get in here sometime late Sunday into Monday. That will usher in a change in our weather and possibly some showers for the beginning of next week. Your boating forecast for all areas tonight through tomorrow. Your winds will be out of the east to southeast at 10 to 15 knots. Seas running 2 to 4 feet over the ocean. Tide is presently high. Will be low at 12:50 a.m. in the morning. Here's a look now at your national forecast. A look now at your extended forecast through Tuesday. That's a look at our weather. Make it a safe night, everybody. Back to you, Christina.
Thanks, Greg. Well, a local manufacturer is hoping to take its 3-ply masks worldwide. Kyle Joaquin takes a look.
Neatly packaged and sanitized, these blue and white 3-ply masks are being pumped out over 4,500 per day at Operational Management and Engineering Services in Coral Harbor. They gave us a look at the process, but first we had to sanitize and suit up. CEO and Managing Director Mario Bastian says it came after much consideration at the beginning of the pandemic and the thought of keeping money in the country. With each mask at about 70 cents, the company is hoping other Bahamian businesses will get involved and support. For Our News, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
Well, thank you for joining us for Our News tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Christina Dragovich. Have a beautiful evening, Bahamas. A new episode of On the Record with Jerome Sawyer starts right now.